everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about the books that I have read during quarantine. We started quarantine the last week of March, I believe. I think it was March 26th or 27th. And I'm going by that as that was the last time I worked in my office. I've been working from home ever since. So that's what I'm kind of considering our quarantine. So I just wanted to go over some of the books that I have read during quarantine with you, and I will put all of the information on these books down below in the description box, as well as links to the authors' websites or Amazon pages, whatever I can find. So the first book that I read at the very beginning of quarantine was The Last to Let Go by Amber Smith. And again, I'll link all of these down below for you guys. I had read a book by her last year, I believe, that was called The Way I Used to Be. And it was a very good book. It got me kind of hooked on her style of writing. So I had seen this one and I grabbed it and read it. I didn't like it as much as the first book, but it was really good. And I am a book collector. I normally never get rid of my books. So this will be on our shelf with everything else. But again, really good book. To sum it up just a little bit, it's a YA novel, I would say, about a teenage girl who just about loses everything and how she's got to come back from that. So, pretty good one. The next book on my list was Lethal by Sandra Brown. I have read Sandra Brown's work since I was a teenager, and a former coworker got me hooked on her books, and she has millions of books out there. She's been writing forever, and she is phenomenal. It's definitely an adult book. It's got some more explicit scenes in them at times, so it's probably not for your YA reader, but a lot of her stories have really inspired me in my own writing. There were a couple of books I remember reading as a teenager, specifically The Crush and The Switch, that just absolutely hooked me on her writing. So she's been one of my favorite authors for a very long time now. So I read that one. And Lethal is about a young woman and her daughter, and they come in contact with kind of a bad guy that everybody thinks. He's kind of on the run, but of course with Sandra Brown's novels, a lot of what you think is happening is not really happening. So you just gotta read till the end and see where the twists and turns take you. The third book on my list was Lauren Oliver's Vanishing Girls. I love Lauren Oliver. I've read quite a few of her books. The very first book of hers I read was Broken Girls, which was a really great book about three teenage girls, and then them as an adults and how life had changed for them around some certain things that had happened when they were teenagers. But the story just absolutely gripped me. And any time I can pick up a book and the story just takes me right in, and I'm part of those characters' lives, and I'm picturing everything, it's a winner for me, and I love that. And with my own writing, that's kind of my goal. I want my readers to be right there with the characters and picture themselves and all of those things. So Lauren Oliver is a wonderful writer. She's also written Replica and Ringer, which are some duo books. They're with each other within the same characters and the same storyline, which I've read Ringer, which is the second book. I didn't realize it until I was halfway through that, oh, there was a book before this I probably should have read, but that's okay. It's on my list to come when I'm all done with some other stuff. So, but that wonderful book. Next up, I pulled a classic off the shelf, Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. I had never read this book ever, and I decided to finally give it a whirl. My favorite book of all time ever is Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre. So I'm not quite sure why it took me so long to read Wuthering Heights. but it did. It was a good read. It's a hard read, at least for me, but I got through it and I enjoyed it. It was very interesting. I kind of want to see like a movie version just to picture things a little bit better, but it was great regardless. Next came Meghan Miranda's Fragments of the Lost. This was a wonderful book. This is another YA or young adult book that was really great. I've read a lot of Meghan Miranda's work. She's a fantastic author. She grips you with her storytelling, and I just fell in love with this book. This book follows a teenager who is cleaning up her ex-boyfriend's bedroom after he has gone missing and then presumed dead. So it's told in a small little time frame, in a small little space, but it is so captivating. I recommend everybody read this book. So next was another Meghan Miranda book, because I like reading back to back sometimes, and this one's called Come Find Me. And before I started reading it, I did a little bit of research on what it was on, and I'm going to be honest, I did not think I was going to like it, because it is another YA novel, but this one's a little bit more about paranormal and a little bit of sci-fi, and normally I don't gravitate to those types of stories, but I do love her writing, so I figured I'm going to read it anyway and give it a shot, and I ended up really loving it. The twists and the turns and the two main characters were just phenomenal. So yeah, this one I would definitely recommend. Give it a shot. It's well worth it. It's called Come Find Me. And I will, again, list everybody's work and their author links down below, because some of these books are, you don't want to pass these up. So next, I read Influencer, and this was by Brittany Hennessy. And I got this for Mother's Day, so I read this in just a few days, and it was on my Amazon wish list because I'm doing the YouTube stuff and the Instagram and the Facebook, and I'm trying to get into all of these things and get a little bit more knowledge under my belt. But this book is packed full of information on what you need to do and how you need to do it. It is a little bit, I think, aimed more for somebody who's more further along in their journey in social media and being an influencer. And there wasn't a whole ton of information for people who are just starting, but down the line it's going to be priceless. So that was an excellent read. My next read, and I just finished this one, is Chevy Stevens' Always Watching. I have read a ton of Chevy Stevens' work, and I love her writing. Her writing is gripping. It brings you right into the story. Again, one of my favorite things. And it's kind of to the point, which I really like sometimes. Details are fantastic. They're needed, but sometimes just a choppy sentence or just right to the point. You don't mess around with all the other stuff. You're just there and you know exactly what's going on. So this one I actually finished last night. She's got a ton of work out there. They're all equally wonderful. This one was about a psychologist or psychiatrist, and a patient that had come into her hospital where she works, and it kind of follows that journey and some memories that it kind of kicks up and how her life kind of parallels this patient. So it was very interesting. I finished that one last night. So I have two more on my list to finish fairly soon, probably just because they're library books and I have to get them back. I have other books on my shelf at home that I haven't read yet, and I'll probably do another video about those later, but I'm going to go ahead and show you the next two that are on my list to finish. The next one that I'm going to be starting probably tonight is Lisa Jewell's The Family Upstairs. I don't know anything about this particular book. I'm just going to get it started tonight, but I've read a lot of other books by Lisa Jewell. Some of my favorites were, I believe it was called I Found You, and then She Was Gone is another one, and her writing is astronomical. She's one of my favorite authors, and I love it. I keep saying the same thing about everybody, but any kind of story that can just bring me in and I feel like I'm part of it, and you have an emotional reaction to what the characters are going through and what they're doing, that, to me, that's the experience I want reading, and that's the experience I want to give to readers in my writing. So she's one of my favorites. And then, again, another one from Meghan Miranda. This is The Last House Guest. I don't know about this one either, but again, I've read a lot of Meghan's work. It's the best. I think my favorite book from her was it's a book called All the Missing Girls, and I'll link it below as well. That was probably, I think, the first one that I had read of hers, and it blew me away. So, excellent, excellent author. So, that is my quarantine book list. That's what I've gotten through from the end of March to middle of May. And hopefully, quarantine will kind of taper off here soon, and we can get back to normal life, but we'll see. Until then, I will keep reading, and I'll keep reading after quarantine. Let's be serious. We know that's going to happen. So I will keep you updated on what comes after this, but thank you for watching. I hope you pick up some of these books and check them out, and if you do, please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on some of them, or all of them. And again, thank you for watching. Please hit that subscribe button if you're interested in seeing any more of the videos on this channel. Hit that thumbs up button to like this video, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye!